Welcome to the August 7th edition of Colorado Inside Out Postgame, a special web exclusive production here on Channel 12. Let's get a quick take on the Democratic presidential campaign running through Colorado, being very busy recently between Vice President Joe Biden's visit last week to a visit from Hillary Clinton this week. In her speech, Clinton defended Planned Parenthood and called out Jeb Bush for supporting the defunding of the organization. Patty Calhoun from Westward, with all the talk about the Republican debate on Thursday, I think we forgot that we had some pretty hefty visits from the Democratic side of the aisle in Colorado in the last 10, 15 days. What do you think?
Well, and in fact, Hillary Clinton got a lot more attention during the Republican debate than she did when she was here in town, except for the people who are very upset about the fact that they keep having to provide security for Hillary Clinton. Well, they better get, all those sheriff's departments better get used to it, because, and just be glad that there are not 17 Democratic candidates, although I think we'd all welcome that. So she's going to keep coming back here. Biden, who knows if he's going to run and if he will keep coming back here as a candidate or to support other candidates. But we are going to see a lot of them because Colorado is still an important battleground state.
David Kopel from the Independence Institute and DU Law School. Generally, at least in recent memory, if a sitting VP is going to run, they're riding successful coattails. And while President Obama did not have a very good 2014, he's having a much better 2015. Is it good enough for Biden to want to ride those coattails and be a much different candidate as an opponent to Hillary Clinton?
Sure, especially because his immediate job is to get the Democratic nomination. And most Democrats think that Obama has had a wonderful 7 years, that it's all been 97% peachy. So of course he's a good follow-on for that. And unlike Hillary Clinton, he's not a extremely corrupt career criminal. I bet when he goes
Don't softball it, David. Yeah.
I bet when he goes to people's weddings, he's not getting paid to do it. And you know, on the sheriffs, I think it's okay that why doesn't Mrs. Clinton spend some of the money that Trump gave her to come to his wedding on just reimbursing the sheriffs for the time that their deputies had to spend away from public safety? And I think every campaign ought to do that. You know, and certainly they have. Many of them have enormous amounts of money. 20 years ago was the conventional wisdom. The Republicans are this hierarchical group, and they, because of their fidelity to order, will always nominate whose ever turn it was. And that's the kind of mentality that led them to the disastrous Bob Dole nomination in 1996. And the theory, on the other hand, was the Democrats, oh, we're like messy, we're herding cats. You know, I don't belong to an organized political party. I'm a Democrat, as Will Rogers said. And we've had a lot of dark horses and underdogs come through. But this time around, it's looking like Republicans, as of 1974, we just like get in line for whoever turn it is, and Hillary's there first, even though I think, as Dr. Ben Carson said, she would be by far the weakest general election candidate among the available Democrats currently.
Eric Sondermann, political analyst. I'm sure this is the first of many visits we're going to get from the Clinton campaign, but Biden's kind of an unknown. If you had 20 imaginary dollars to spend on a bet, do we see him back as a candidate?
I'd probably bet no, but I'd only bet 20. I'm not sure I'd bet 200 or 2,000. I think that is being actively evaluated. I'm not sure just by Joe Biden. I think Elizabeth Warren's having conversations. Who knows? Al Gore's name has been thrown out there. Hillary Clinton had one thing, and I use had somewhat in the past tense here, that was the premise of her candidacy, and in a word, it was inevitability. And when that inevitability gets punctured, as it is somewhat being punctured, it's not totally blown up yet, but as it's somewhat being punctured, when you puncture that fundamental premise of her candidacy, which is the inevitability of it, then, you know, the barn doors are open. Mm-hmm. And you'll have to see. And I think Biden is evaluating, you know, obviously there's the personal, emotional piece of the deathbed encouragement, urging of his son. But he also understands that the odds are still somewhat stacked against him. And does he want to end a long career as a sitting vice president, or does he want to end a long career as a defeated candidate for the Democratic nomination, not for the first time, but for the third time? That's not preordained, and it would be Hillary Clinton's worst nightmare. But that is what I think is being evaluated. from the Republican debate stage last night, whatever you make of them, and you can call about a clown car as they all walked out or whatever, but there was enthusiasm. And as we pointed out off the air around this table, if what Donald Trump does is nothing but get viewers to tune in to check out a John Kasich or a Marco Rubio or others, that may be a long-term service to his party, depending, of course, whether he runs third party or not, and that will play out. There is no enthusiasm. There is no electricity these days on the Democratic side of the aisle. They would die to have any of that enthusiasm. All these bumper stickers, that you've seen for the last several years said, "Ready for Hillary." I think the bumper stickers from every Democrat I talk to these days, it's not ready for Hillary, it's resigned to Hillary. They think they have no choice but to go that route, but they're not excited about it.
Natasha Gardner, senior editor of 52A Magazine, speaking strictly as the host of this show and ambassador of how much fun we have talking politics. Are we lucky enough that we might see not only Joe Biden, but maybe Al Gore join this race? I mean, that would just be a Christmas gift of all time,
right.
This table.
Well, we can all just take vacation and replay the tapes from the previous years, right? There's not much new we'll be able to add to that discussion. And that's what I think is terrifying me. As we move out of the sort of the soundbite stage and move out of just, oh, that's a candidate, okay, let's actually think about what they're doing. I'm starting to look at what's going to get people to vote, what's going to get people to polling stations, what's going to get people in Colorado to take that out of their mailbox, take that ballot and actually return it to a polling site. This is the problem with Hillary Clinton, is that I'm not sure she has the engagement with young voters and just across the board to get people to do that. And once you deal with an election with low turnout, you end up seeing odd results. It may not be indicative of where the rest of the country feels. So if I were somebody who was organizing a Get Out the Vote campaign right now, I'd be terrified about where to go from here, because that's really what we should be most worried about, is are we going to have a leader who's representative of our country? And that's what we need to focus on, is how do we get people excited and interested and have quality candidates.
We can get this table excited if Al Gore and Joe Biden jump in the race.
John Kerry, too.
What I would give for a man-bear-pig campaign. Oh, my goodness gracious. It'd be great. That is all the time we have for Colorado Inside Postgame this week. Leave us a comment and tell us what you think. For everyone here at CPT12.org, I'm Dominic Dezzutti. Thanks for watching.